Welcome back with us, the Honorable Karen Bass, Democrat from Los Angeles and chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, one of the most quoted members of the California delegation to the United States House of Representatives. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on again.
So, listen, we just got done with the head of IBEW Local 18, a person you've dealt with many times,
yes.
Brian D'Arcy. We're looking at a split in the Democratic Party, a perceived split. Certainly, we saw it sort of at the California Democratic Convention where there were protests there between the left wing of the party and the environmental left, Green New Deal, and organized labor, construction trades, people at the Department of Water and Power. Is that a danger for your party that you can't come to terms with these very different wings?
Well, it is a danger, and I think we absolutely have to address that because we really do have the same interest, and we have to figure out how to get there. When it actually comes to legislation, though, I don't think you see that split as much. Let me give you an example. You know, there's Green New Deal, which is an idea and, you know, the framework for legislation that's there federally. The Speaker appointed a select committee on the environment, and so the legislation that will come out of there will be a lot more nuanced.
Homelessness is a local issue for the most part. The mayor of Los Angeles just says he was shocked by the recent report that says it's up 16%. It's up in your district. It's
yes,
up across this. What role does the federal government play in
So
this?
I do believe the federal government has a role to play, and we're part of the problem as well. And so in terms of resources that need to come to the city, investing in affordable housing, one of the reasons I believe the numbers went up is because although we're trying to deal with the existing homeless situation, we need to do more to prevent people from falling into homelessness. So I was mortified to learn that the fastest growing sector of the homeless population in my area are senior citizens. A lot of them are being swindled out of their homes, tricked into making repairs, and then not realizing that they're losing their homes. So we need to stop people from coming in. But there's another problem around homelessness that our city needs to face, and that's NIMBYism, not in my backyard. So I remember in parts of my district on the west side, as soon as the ballot measure was passed, people said, well, we're going to go to court because we don't want any of the housing here. So we have to figure out how, as a community, that we take responsibility for it all over town. We can't just address this issue in one side of town when the tents are all over the city.
True, but a lot of people you talk to say, listen, our problem is with the lack of credibility out of City Hall. We don't believe them when they say it's going to be temporary.
Right, but you know what, and I think that's so hard because we had a major accomplishment at passing those ballot initiatives, but the housing can't get built fast enough, and with more and more people falling into homelessness, it looks like the city isn't doing anything. I don't believe that that's
Is it just a money issue?
No, I don't think it's just a money issue. I think, and then part of it, you know, was the county side. If it's not just enough for bricks and mortar, you also have to provide the supportive services that people need. And so it really is a problem that requires a comprehensive solution. It's not just one county or city agency, it's multiple. And the health side of it is we have to deal with our healthcare system, and part of that is federal.
Let's move to impeachment. A year ago, you voted for impeaching the President of the United States. Now you're opposed to it. What changed?
Well, let me just tell you, if impeachment comes up, whether it's in my committee or on the floor, I will vote for it. However,
we should point out you're on House Judiciary.
Yes, I'm on the Judiciary Committee, the committee where impeachment will come up if we get there. But I think right now, today, I don't believe that we're ready. I think that we need to have more time to do our oversight and investigative role. We have to remember, many of us wanted to see him gone the minute he got there. So there has been the sentiment for this president to leave from January of 2017. Democrats just took over. For 2 years, there was no oversight. There was no investigation. We've really only had 3 months to actually do the oversight and investigation. And if you look at Clinton and Nixon, it took quite a while before they got to impeachment.
Right, but if you don't have time now, why did you think you had time a year ago when you voted for it?
No, well, that was way more symbolic. I mean, Republicans were in charge, and I had no problem being in solidarity with the symbolism.
You say you need more time.
Yes.
The next guest, Tom Steyer, says you've run out of time.
Yes.
You need to do it now.
Let me just tell you something. I don't want to mislead people at all because people believe that if we impeach him, he is gone. And that is not the case. An impeachment is an indictment. What happens after you get indicted is you get put on trial. That trial takes place in the Senate. Until the Senate changes and public sentiment changes more in favor of impeachment, if we impeached him and led people on to believe that, number one, impeachment would win in the House, and then he's gone, I don't think it's fair to mislead people.
Have you endorsed in this presidential race?
I haven't, and I'm chairing the Congressional Black Caucus, and I'm proud to say that 2 of our members are running.
Is it most important to have a candidate who can beat Donald Trump?
In my opinion, it's most important to have a candidate that can beat Donald Trump.
Even if he's in his 70s, even if he's a white male?
Period.
Period. End of story. Let's talk about something that's near and dear to your heart, and that is a welfare reform and the foster child system.
Yes.
You have gone out of your way to bring many foster children from around the nation to the U.S. Capitol, at just making an incremental effort at trying to help them with a new horizon.
We had over 100 former and current foster youth at the nation's capital a couple of weeks ago. They were from 100 different congressional districts all over the country. They were there for a week, and they spent time shadowing their individual member of Congress. And it's not just a feel-good thing. One, Democrats and Republicans come together on this issue, but what has happened almost every year that we've done this, and this was the 8th year, we pass legislation right after they leave. And so we're working on bills now, and I am hopeful that the energy and the experience that they shared with their members of Congress will help us get that legislation passed.
The institutions that deal with foster care, are some of them too big to be effective, like LA counties?
Well, you know, we're definitely different than the rest of the country. So our system is large, but if it was just one system, you have so many systems that interface with the same population, and that's one of the issues. How do you coordinate? How do you communicate? How do you have one strategy for the youth? So we've made great strides within LA County, but we have a lot further to go.
There's a rumor out there that if Senator Dianne Feinstein decides not to finish out her term, that you would want her job in the U.S. Senate.
Oh, really? That's a rumor I hadn't heard.
I just made that rumor up. I just wanted to get your reaction to it. Senator Feinstein's going to be there the whole term, for all we know. I just wanted to throw that. Karen Bass, Congresswoman from Los Angeles, thank you very much. It's always a delight to see you.
I appreciate it.
Up next, perhaps the individual outside of the Beltway in Washington who's advocating for the impeachment of the president more than anyone else, billionaire Tom Steyer, when we return.